Happiness is not something to chase, it is something to realize within. Most people spend their entire lives running after happiness, believing it lies somewhere in the future, a better job, a bigger house, more money, or a perfect relationship. They think once they achieve those things, happiness will come as a reward. But the truth is, happiness is not a destination to reach someday. It is a state of being that exists right now within us. When we chase it in the outside world, we are like travelers searching for a treasure while sitting on the chest that already holds it. The more we run, the further away it feels, because we are looking in the wrong direction. Happiness doesn't hide in things, it hides in awareness, in how we see and experience life itself. Imagine the mind as a lake. When it is calm, it reflects the beauty of the sky perfectly. But when it is disturbed and restless, the reflection is broken and unclear. Chasing happiness is like stirring the water again and again, trying to catch the reflection with your hands. The more you stir, the less you see. Yet when you allow the mind to become still, to rest, to accept, to simply be, the reflection appears effortlessly. This is the nature of happiness. It arises naturally when the mind stops grasping and starts understanding. Inner realization means seeing that happiness is not produced by external conditions. It's not something we earn, it's something we uncover. Every human being has an innate sense of peace and joy within them, but it's buried under layers of desire, fear, and expectation. We live in a world that constantly tells us we are not enough and that happiness must be bought, achieved, or proven. But once we stop listening to that noise and start listening inwardly, we find that the still voice of contentment has always been waiting. The more we align our life with authenticity and gratitude, the more that inner joy shines through everything we do. When you realize that happiness is within, you stop being controlled by circumstances. You may face challenges, failures, or loss, but they no longer define your peace. You stop waiting for a perfect moment to be happy and start choosing happiness in this imperfect one. The power shifts from the outside world to your own heart. You begin to see beauty in ordinary things, the morning light, a kind word, a quiet breath. You discover that happiness was never hiding. It was you who had turned away. By coming back to yourself, by living with awareness and acceptance, you awaken a joy that no one can give or take away. Happiness, then, is not a pursuit but a presence. A realization that what you have, who you are, and where you stand right now is already enough. The pursuit of happiness often blinds us to the joy already around us. We live in a world that constantly urges us to keep moving toward the next achievement, the next purchase, the next milestone, believing that happiness lies just beyond our reach. This endless chase becomes a habit, a way of thinking that convinces us we are always one step away from fulfillment. We become so focused on the idea of happiness as a goal that we overlook the simple, quiet moments that actually contain it. Like someone running through a garden searching for flowers, we miss their fragrance because we never stop long enough to notice. The tragedy is not that happiness is rare, but that we are too distracted to see it. When we are always chasing something, our attention is fixed on what's missing instead of what's present. We look at our lives through the lens of lack, telling ourselves, I'll be happy when I get the promotion, when I meet the right person, when I have more money, when everything finally goes my way. This mindset keeps happiness forever in the future, like a horizon that moves as we approach. The more we chase, the further away it seems. Meanwhile, life keeps offering moments of peace and beauty, a smile from a stranger, a sunset, the comfort of home. But we pass them by because our eyes are fixed on tomorrow. The pursuit of happiness can even become a burden. When we believe we must be happy all the time, we begin to judge ourselves for feeling sad, tired, or uncertain. We mistake emotional ups and downs as failures instead of part of being human. Real joy is not constant excitement or pleasure. It is the deep calm of acceptance. When we stop forcing life to make us happy and instead open ourselves to the present, happiness finds its own way to us. It doesn't need to be chased because it was never lost. Joy is often found in the simplest places, in laughter shared with a friend, in the warmth of sunlight through a window, in the quiet after a long day. These are not grand achievements but ordinary blessings that become extraordinary when we notice them. To see them, we must slow down and shift our focus from what we lack to what we have. Gratitude becomes the key that unlocks the joy hidden in plain sight. The more we appreciate the little things, the more happiness grows naturally, without struggle or pursuit. When we stop chasing happiness and start living with awareness, we realize that joy is not something to acquire but something to awaken. It has always been here, quietly waiting beneath the noise of our striving. The present moment is rich with beauty, meaning, and peace, but it can only be felt when we pause long enough to experience it fully. In that pause, we understand the truth. The happiness we've been searching for has been walking beside us all along. True happiness grows from gratitude and inner peace, not external success. Many people believe that happiness is the result of achieving goals, gaining recognition, or accumulating wealth. They see it as something that can be measured by status or possessions. But no matter how high you climb or how much you own, if gratitude and peace are missing, happiness will always feel temporary. External success can bring excitement, pride, or comfort, but those feelings fade quickly when the heart is restless. Gratitude, on the other hand, roots happiness deeply in the soul. It teaches us to find joy not in what we have, but in how we see what we have. When we practice gratitude, we shift our focus from what's lacking to what's already abundant. It's a quiet awareness that life, in all its imperfections, still offers countless reasons to smile. The air we breathe, the food we eat, the people we love, all these are miracles we often overlook while chasing bigger dreams. Gratitude doesn't mean we stop striving or growing. It means we learn to appreciate the journey as much as the destination. Every step, every failure, every lesson becomes part of the beauty of being alive. And when you live with this mindset, happiness stops being conditional. It no longer depends on perfect outcomes or approval from others. It simply flows from the recognition that you are blessed here and now. Inner peace is the second root of true happiness. It comes when you stop fighting life and start flowing with it. So many of our struggles come not from circumstances themselves, but from our resistance to them. We want control over everything, the past, the future, and the opinions of others. But peace is born only when we let go. To be at peace is to accept that life will not always be easy, yet trust that every moment holds meaning. It's understanding that happiness is not the absence of pain, but the presence of calm amid chaos. When your mind is at peace, even simple things, a walk in nature, a deep breath, a moment of stillness, can fill you with profound joy. External success may bring applause, but it cannot fill the quiet spaces of the heart. People who build their happiness solely on achievements often find themselves restless once the excitement fades. They move from one goal to another, always searching for the next high. But those who cultivate gratitude and peace carry happiness with them wherever they go, because it comes from within. It's a light that no setback can dim and no failure can extinguish. True happiness doesn't depend on how much you have, but how deeply you appreciate what you have. When gratitude becomes your daily practice and peace your inner home, success becomes a reflection of your joy, not the source of it. Letting go of control opens the door to genuine contentment. Most people live under the illusion that they can shape every detail of life, believing that happiness depends on how perfectly things unfold. They plan, predict, and push, thinking that control equals security. But the truth is, the tighter we grip life, the more it slips through our fingers. We cannot control the weather, the behavior of others, or the unpredictable turns of fate. And when we try to, we create tension, fear, and frustration within ourselves. Real peace does not come from mastering life's outcomes. It comes from surrendering to its flow with trust and openness. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or becoming passive. It means releasing the constant need to force things to happen our way. It's the understanding that some paths are not meant for us, some doors close to protect us, and some delays are blessings in disguise. When we stop fighting what is and start accepting what comes, we begin to see life with greater clarity. The moments that once felt like disappointments reveal themselves as lessons, and the pain we resisted becomes the soil where wisdom grows. In letting go, we create space for life to surprise us with something even better than what we planned. Control often stems from fear, the fear of uncertainty, loss, or failure. We cling to plans and people because unpredictability feels uncomfortable. But happiness and growth live in the very spaces we fear to enter. When we loosen our grip and allow things to unfold naturally, we invite freedom into our hearts. Freedom to breathe, to feel, to experience life as it is, not as we demand it to be. This freedom brings contentment because it aligns us with reality instead of fighting against it. We begin to realize that peace is not found in having everything under control, but in knowing we will be okay even when we don't. There is a quiet strength in surrender. It takes courage to trust that life has its rhythm and that not every unanswered question needs an immediate solution. Letting go allows us to move with that rhythm, to dance with uncertainty instead of resisting it. We start to live with patience rather than pressure, gratitude instead of grasping. The more we release the urge to control, the lighter we feel. We no longer carry the weight of trying to manage what was never ours to manage. Instead, we open ourselves to the beauty of spontaneity and the peace of acceptance. When you let go, life becomes softer, not because it changes, but because you do. You stop judging every event as good or bad and start trusting that each one has a purpose. The winds of life no longer feel like storms, but like gentle currents guiding you forward. In that surrender, you find something you never could through control. Genuine, effortless contentment that comes from living in harmony with what is. Meaning, not pleasure, gives life lasting happiness. In our modern world, pleasure is often mistaken for joy. People fill their days chasing moments of excitement, entertainment, and comfort, believing these sensations will add up to happiness. But pleasure is fleeting. It fades as quickly as it arrives, leaving behind emptiness that demands another fix. We eat, buy, scroll, and consume, all in search of the next thrill. Yet, no matter how much we indulge, something deeper inside us remains unsatisfied. That emptiness is the soul's quiet reminder that what we truly crave is not temporary pleasure, but enduring meaning. Meaning nourishes us in a way that pleasure never can, giving depth and direction to our existence. Pleasure lives on the surface, meaning lives in the heart. When we chase pleasure, we are constantly seeking stimulation from the outside world, something new to feel good about. But when we seek meaning, we turn inward and upward, looking for connection, purpose, and contribution. Meaning is found in the things that matter beyond ourselves, in love, kindness, creativity, service, and growth. It's what gives weight to our struggles and value to our victories. When life feels meaningful, even pain has purpose. When it lacks meaning, even comfort feels hollow. That is why people who dedicate themselves to something greater than their own pleasure often experience deeper happiness. even in hardship. Meaning transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary experiences. A parent caring for a child may feel exhausted, yet that exhaustion carries joy because it's rooted in love. An artist may spend hours perfecting a single detail, not for applause, but for the fulfillment of creation. A teacher may face endless challenges but continues because they see the spark of transformation in their students. These are not acts driven by pleasure, they are acts driven by purpose. And in that purpose lies a happiness that cannot be taken away because it is not dependent on circumstances but on connection and growth. The pursuit of pleasure can often isolate us, making us focus on ourselves and what we can gain. The pursuit of meaning connects us to others, to life, and to something larger than our own desires. It invites compassion, patience, and gratitude. It reminds us that happiness does not come from how much we experience, but from how deeply we engage with life. When we live with meaning, we stop running after fleeting highs and start building something lasting. Relationships, legacies, wisdom, and peace. Lasting happiness is not a feeling we chase, but a fulfillment we cultivate. Pleasure fades with time, but meaning deepens. It roots us in a sense of purpose that carries us through both joy and sorrow. When we align our lives with meaning, every challenge becomes an opportunity to grow, every success becomes a chance to serve, and every day becomes a reason to be grateful. In meaning, we find a happiness that endures. Stop searching for happiness. Start creating it in every moment. So many people spend their lives waiting for happiness to appear, as if it were a reward granted after they achieve enough, earn enough, or become enough. They wait for the right relationship, the perfect opportunity, or the day when everything finally feels easy. But happiness is not something that arrives one day. It is something we create through our thoughts, choices, and actions right now. The power to be happy is already within us. It simply awakens when we begin to live with intention, gratitude, and love. Every moment holds the potential to bring joy, but only if we choose to see and shape it that way. Happiness is a creative act, not a passive experience. It's not about what happens to us, but how we respond to what happens. Two people can live through the same situation. One feels defeated, the other finds growth. The difference lies in perspective. When you stop waiting for life to make you happy and start taking responsibility for your own emotions, you shift from being a seeker to a creator. You start to understand that your mood, your peace, your fulfillment are all built from within. You can choose kindness over anger, gratitude over complaint, faith over fear. And in those choices, you are creating happiness moment by moment. Creating happiness is also about finding meaning in small things. It's not limited to big milestones or special occasions. It's present in daily life if you pay attention. The warmth of morning sunlight, the laughter of a friend, the satisfaction of doing your best. These are small threads that, when noticed, weave a fabric of joy. People often overlook them because they seem ordinary, yet these are the moments that truly shape our inner world. When you begin to celebrate the ordinary, life stops feeling empty. You realize happiness is not a destination to reach, but a rhythm to dance to every day. It also means being kind to yourself. Happiness cannot grow in a heart full of self-criticism or regret. When you forgive yourself, nurture your dreams, and give yourself permission to feel, you create emotional space for joy to breathe. You stop measuring your worth by comparison or success and start honoring the person you are becoming. The act of creating happiness begins with self-acceptance, because you cannot truly enjoy life while rejecting yourself. When we stop searching for happiness and start creating it, we regain control of our lives. We no longer depend on circumstances or people to make us feel complete. Instead, we become the source of our own light. We live intentionally with awareness that every word, every thought, every act of gratitude adds color to our inner world. Happiness becomes a living art, something we craft every day with patience, presence, and love. In this creation, we find that the happiness we sought outside was waiting quietly within us all along.